Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another edition of the Anything Wrestling Podcast. Thank you so much for joining us on another very special episode. Yes, this episode is as special as the Raw reunion last night.
Is it though? Is it though? Like, is it though?
It is.
But is it the... I don't know where I'm going with that, guys. I'm sorry. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is the Commish. Not only am I the advocate of the podcast, not only am I legal representation for everyone representing the podcast, also sole proprietor of assisting the podcast and creating the Instagram page. I'm overall the connoisseur of connoisseurs of connoisseurs of connoisseur. Any sponsors?
Yes, this episode is brought to you by the WWE Network, where you can get it for a non-negotiable but very reasonable price of only $9.99.
All right, $9.99.
It's not $10.
It's not $1,000, and it's not $1,000,000,
but $9.99.
And today this episode is only just the Commish and Dan and the Champ, because Dan the Man is still enjoying a relaxing vacation in the East Coast. We hope to have him back next week or as soon as possible. But we're going to be breaking down the official review, of the review of Extreme Rules 2019, and also giving you a review of Raw Reunion last night. Again, we record sometimes on Tuesdays or Wednesdays, so we always have the WWE Network playing in the background, or at least some rendition of what plays in regards to what we witnessed. But before we get into the review, if you have to grade Extreme Rules 2019 compared to 2018, what would you give it?
Solid A-.
So a big improvement, even though the name itself doesn't really give you what we're supposed to get out of it, right?
Yeah.
So if we could do a brief
Are you taking a survey? Oh.
I think I am. Hey, yeah.
There we go.
Extreme Rules originated from 2005, originally called ECW One Night Stand.
I'm sorry, what was that?
EC Dub. I hate lawn people or gardeners, whatever.
I hate mower people. Mow of lawns.
But in 2005, ECW had its one night stand, which we thought, it was a one-time thing only, where we would get the most extreme of hardcore matches only throughout the entire main event, not roster, but like card.
Yes.
And then, let's continue the trend. Let's have them recreate a one-night stand again, even though it makes no sense, because one-night stands are only a one-time thing.
Hence the name.
But then, what year was it? I think 2006 they changed the name?
Oh, changing the name was 2009.
Because 2008 I think was the last one-night stand that I saw recently. And then it changed to Extreme Rules in 2009. So, this is supposed to be a one-night event where everything is hardcore. Everything is perceived as extreme. Everything is perceived as aggressive, combining like your attitude area, your ruthless aggression, your PG, just everything where you lay it all out. But as the Shant and I have come to talk about, we think that certain things should be tweaked in regards to this pay-per-view. I think if you have rivalries, storylines, or just a grudge against an opponent, I think that's the night where you end it, you settle it, you bury the story, that's it. You start fresh, heading into what is considered the biggest party of the summer, SummerSlam. Last year, I think...
By the way, our first podcast together, all three of us.
Yeah. exactly right, actually. Last year when we all saw Extreme Rules, I think we were fairly disappointed in regards to what we didn't get out of it.
By the way, we're still mad at Pittsburgh.
That was one of the biggest disappointing, annoying things to ever have to deal with. How did you feel like overall last year? Like, because I saw your reactions. Most of your reactions were honestly like this feigned and annoyed like look on your face. Like, why are we getting such a crappy show? And why are we getting such a horrible audience to back it up?
I mean, that's just it right there. I was really looking forward to the Dolph and Seth match, but the fact that the whole crowd just took a crap all over it, I'm like, okay, you guys say, put Seth in the title picture, put Dolph in the title picture, make the Intercontinental title relevant, put these guys in the main event, give us more than just one-on-one matches. Okay, they give you all that, and you take a crap all over it, so...
And technically, the thing that sucks about it, too, it just... What? Most of that card was supposed to be like, all right, you can see these guys really like take into a toll. Like, oh, this is going to be a good match. This is going to be something where like people let their frustration out. Like, if I'm gonna bring up everything we got out of that event. God, I miss these guys. Sanity versus the New Day in the tables match on the pre-show.
Right.
Andrade Cien, when he was actually known as that, versus Sin Cara. Now, that was all pre-show.
Yeah.
The B Team versus Bray Wyatt and Matt Hardy.
That's right, they won the titles.
Finn Balor versus Baron Corbin. Carmella versus Asuka.
That's the time, huh? When
the
that
cage,
was going on.
The shark cage. Yeah. The slippery shark cage.
Well, also the burial of Asuka.
Shinsuke versus Jeff Hardy.
Oh, the 9-second match?
6 seconds, actually.
Oh, okay.
Kevin Owens versus Braun Strowman with the inflatable table. The Bludgeon Brothers versus Team Hell No.
Oh, that was a mess.
Bobby Lashley versus Roman Reigns.
That was probably the most interesting match of the night.
A supposed Extreme Rules match with Alexa Bliss versus Nia Jax.
Lexi.
AJ Styles versus Rusev. And, of course, the Iron Man match for 30 minutes. Dolph Ziggler versus Seth Rollins. In all these matches, it doesn't sound like an Extreme Rules event. It just sounds like it should have been like Great American Bash or something.
That would have been a better marquee for the pay-per-view.
Because you're expecting to go into it like, okay, there's going to be hell, there's going to be Extreme Rules, there's going to be tables, ladders, chairs,
stairs, kendos,
trash cans, trash can lids, freaking
cookie pans.
Everything literally including the kitchen sink. But did we get that?
No.
Not at all. It was really disappointing. And the fact that it was in Pittsburgh and not in the city of hardcore in Philadelphia, that was a bigger disappointment as well.
Well, we'll talk about this because I think that's what made the ending of this year's Extreme Rules a lot more fitting.
So let's get into 2019 Extreme Rules, which took place in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania at the Wells Fargo Center. Do you want to do pre-show matches?
I didn't even see it. So, I mean, there was an Intercontinental Champion change. Happy that Shinsuke is getting it, and I heard that Finn Balor is looking to take some time off, so I guess that's a proper cover-up for each person.
And then Drew Gulak retained his Cruiserweight belt. He was the hometown hero.
Oh, okay.
So
there you go.
Even though he's supposed to be the heel, he was the crowd babyface. I already reviewed this in the preview of the review, but I'm getting Sean's live reaction to it right now. Undertaker and Roman Reigns versus Drew McIntyre and Shane McMahon. Like, how did you feel overall?
This was perfect. The last couple Undertaker appearances has been very hard to watch. It's been messed up. It's been screwed up. It's been just all over. Yeah. Not Undertaker's fault. I will throw that in there. A lot of people have gone on to say, oh, The Undertaker is too old. Oh, he's taking up the spotlight. Opening match on the card, and he gave a really great performance. I didn't even see him stumble in this match. And keep in mind, he had to take a guitar shot to the back, elbow drop from on the announce table from Shane McMahon, and a coast to coast, and the guy was still going. So those of you saying, oh, it's age, it's father time, no. The guy can still go.
And keep in mind, the guy stands toe-to-toe with Drew McIntyre.
That was scary.
And the fact that, like, at one point you see him signaling for the end with the tombstone piledriver, and in the back lurking is just Drew McIntyre. One, we already know that The Undertaker hand-selected Drew McIntyre. And if you guys haven't noticed within history's time, whenever The Undertaker hand-picks you as his, like, next opponent, that's not only like, oh, he's the stepping stone of what your career is supposed to be, but that's basically him saying, I'm giving you the push, but you have to get through me to get it.
Yeah.
He did it for Shawn Michaels, did it for Triple H. As I'm seeing right now, he did it for Edge. Batista, he's done it for a lot of great WWE superstars. To move forward, because we already reviewed it.
Are you grading?
Nah.
Okay.
I mean, the overall event, I give it an A- as well because it was a lot better than last year.
Yes.
But each match, I'm not going to grade because honestly, like, there's too much technical detail to get into. We have the Raw Tag Team Championship up for grabs with the Revival versus the Usos, Jay and Jimmy Uso, the Uso Penitentiary. I kind of like the match. I mean, it's starting to show, well, at least the crowd is starting to show that they're behind the personalities. I guess that Dawson and Wilder are showing that, hey, like, we're elite now. We are like the A tag team to beat, and I guess this whole thing of aligning themselves, I don't know if they still are, but aligning themselves with Shane McMahon and Drew McIntyre, it's like a revival of their tag team career. How do you think?
I thought it was an okay match, nothing that particularly stood out to me. I think that if these two teams were given instructions to, hey, go out there, have a 5-star match, they can do it. But I think you also got to pay attention to timing and just placement on the card and, moving the show along. I don't know if you noticed, but I think it was this match and the Cesaro and A-Lister Black match where I was like, why do I feel like these two matches could have had a couple more minutes, but it was cut down due to time constraints?
Well, that's the thing. Like with now, I don't know if you guys ever watched like the pay-per-views, and I'm referring to you guys that are our listeners. There's a lot of advertisement in between matches now. There's a lot of like commercial breaks, but it's not like they're setting up a Hell in a Cell or they're setting up something dangerous along the ring. No, it's just we're due to time constraint, but we also have to keep the show going. I think this match could have been a little bit longer, but again, you could have allotted time to other matches. Which is the next one that I want to talk about, A-Lister Black versus Cesaro. So first off, I like what they're doing with A-Lister. Like, they took him away from the whole tag team. Hey, you and Ricochet, you guys are coming up as the next NXT superstars that are going to shine. But they finally did this thing where, hey, we're going to separate you. And you two kind of have to carry yourselves now.
Yeah.
Which I think, in a way, is how it should be at this point. It's unfortunate because, of course, every time we see a call-up, it's like, oh, you're going to get buried.
Yeah.
Or you're going to get an immediate push, but it's not going to be one that's well-earned or deserved. I think the way it should be is, hey, you're getting the call-up. You need to convince us of why you need to be on TV. Whether it's promos, whether it's matches, it's like you sold us on NXT, sell us on Raw or sell us on SmackDown or whatever the stupid wild card rule is nowadays. So when they separated the two, I liked in the direction they were going with the whole A-lister is looking for a fight. He's looking for a worthy opponent. I thought it was going to be something different, though, in regards to, like, maybe, like, a boiler room brawl or, like, something in a parking lot. Something extreme.
Yeah.
And then when we finally saw, almost a month's worth of promos?
Yeah.
We finally see who the man knocking at the door was. And the rumor was supposedly it was between the following three. Bray Wyatt, Cesaro, and Randy Orton. Would it have made sense with Bray Wyatt? No, because we all see what the Fiend is doing. Would it make sense with Randy Orton? Kind of, because Randy is always still the apex predator, the Viper. With Cesaro, I think it aligns well. What's your take before the match? Like the whole.
I thought the promos from Black at first were kind of like, okay, he's like really, because in NXT he was a soft-spoken, less talky, more fighty type of person. And then when I saw these promos, I'm like, okay, now we're trying to make every single person on the roster talk because it's a necessity now. It was just kind of bland for a while. It was kind of like a Bray Wyatt where it was kind of cryptic, kind of from the dark side. But then when the whole door thing started coming in, I'm like, okay, now we're going somewhere. Now you can build up to something. I didn't expect it to be Cesaro, but when it was Cesaro, I was personally happy because I've been advocating for Cesaro for a long time, and I'm like, oh, finally they'll do something with the guy. So was kind of bitter that Cesaro lost, but I get it. It's like you said, maybe we're building Black up for a really good push, or we're building for a really good comeback for Cesaro.
Like, do you think that with Cesaro, like, I get it, like, he's always been the guy that, according to Vince McMahon, he's not up there. But to the fans, to wrestlers all around, like, he's already there. It's just you need to put him in a title picture already. Yes. Do you think by building A-lister with Cesaro, like, it's both get a rise out of it, or it's like one does while one stays stagnant?
I think both get a rise out of it simply because the chemistry of these two is there. They did have another match on Smackdown which ended a little bit, which I think was a bit shorter than the Extreme Rules match. So, and I think that's another big mistake, is throwing away the rematches on TV instead of building to it for the next pay-per-view.
And do you feel like that buries, like, whatever the story is?
Yeah.
I just think that they should have, like, had this thing where, like, oh, you see A-lister come out for another match with somebody else. You could have had, like, as A-lister rises up, starts walking down the ramp, Cesaro attacks him, there's a match, but there's not.
Yeah.
Like, A-lister takes the beating. And Cesaro, like, kind of, like, should stand over and be like, you know what? I deserve to win. You got lucky,
Yeah.
Like, build this rivalry more. Or at least give a better build-up.
Yeah.
Because, honestly, like, I think this year's crop of call-ups, not towards the end of last year's call-ups, but this year's, have been a little bit better. But we're kind of slowly starting to bury him, in a way.
Yeah.
Not completely. But hopefully, we'll see where it goes at this point. We're hoping for a bigger future for both. But moving on, we got the current SmackDown Women's Champion Bayley defending her title in a 2-on-1 handicap match with Nikki Cross and Alexa Bliss. The build-up was nice. The story, of course, it seems like it stems between reality and of course, story. everyone was expecting like a double turn.
Yeah.
From Bliss to Nikki. Nikki came close, as opposed to Bliss, though, to winning the belt herself.
Yeah.
And even though she was willing to share the belt, that would have not sat well with Alexa Bliss.
Of course.
Why is that? Like, why would you think that would, like, story-wise, where would you go with it?
Personally, like, this is the problem now, is that with Extreme Rules out of the way, the next pay-per-view is SummerSlam, and I was hoping that we build to Alexa versus Nikki at SummerSlam, because that's eventually the match that we all want to see, where Nikki goes all out crazy and goes back to the gimmick of just being, you know, what was she nicknamed? The crazy child of NXT or NXT's crazy sister or something like that.
Yeah.
No, it wouldn't sit well with Alexa Bliss, because Alexa Bliss, like, her in-ring character has always been use the people that are next to me to get to where I want to be, essentially. Bayley is credible. You know, I like it. You know, she was feuding with Alexa and Nikki. Now she's on to Ember Moon for SummerSlam. Very credible, as opposed to being the childish little, you know, premature child that would come out there and, you know, would give hugs. It's still that, but it's more matured. It's more intense and serious. Like, the belt comes first over anything. So, yeah, I think it's a win-win. I'm just hoping that they eventually pull the trigger on this Alexa versus Nikki feud, because we're 3-4 weeks away from SummerSlam and no sign of Alexa versus Nikki yet.
I think what the build-up could be is that, like, you know, you could have Alexa, like, wanting another shot, or she probably gets involved, or because right now we don't know. We just know that it's friendly competition between Ember Moon and Bayley.
Yeah.
And of course, I'm sure Bayley still has, like, that built-up rivalry with Alexa and Nikki, while Ember has her own rivalry to deal with in regards to Mandy Rose and Sonya Deville. Hopefully, I would like an intertwining of both rivalries at one point, but if I had to pick one over the other, maybe build up the Alexa Nikki one in regards to, like, you can have Ember and Bayley give a 5-star match at SummerSlam. It doesn't matter if the belt changes or not. If it does, great for Ember. If it doesn't, okay, but at least give Ember another shot.
Hell in a Cell, maybe?
Yeah. Or what I would like to see is that, like, Alexa and Nikki try to get involved, everything backfires, you know, and Alexa just takes out her aggression on Nikki, like, oh, you are always in my way type of thing. And then you see Nikki snap and, like, start cutting these promos of, like, you want to see how crazy I am?
Yeah.
Come find me in Hell in a Cell. Come find me in the cell itself. And
well, that's another thing, too, is that living up to the Extreme Rules name, I was hoping that after the match, Alexa would unleash, like, this kendo stick / chair attack on Nikki, just go, like, ham on her. Because that way, like, with the hardcore attack, that's where Nikki goes, okay, you want to be nasty? We're going to be nasty. And then flips it to that dark side.
We'll get that eventually. I mean, who knows?
Hopefully under right circumstance.
Then we move on to what was finally a match that seemed extreme. The last man standing match between Braun, come get these hands, Strowman versus Bobby Lashley. Without the duck. I think the duck quit, or he's really being, like, held off TV, but whatever.
Or maybe he got rushed out of there.
You said you liked this match because it finally did something that it hasn't done in a while, which is take the whole match itself and the story in the ring, out of the ring, around, and actually be an actual last man standing match. Did you like how it ended? Did you like the outcome?
I did. It was a bit confusing because the way that the cameras were set up, you couldn't really see them go through the floor or through whatever they went through. I thought this was the push for Braun, hence the Battle Royal on Raw, where I was like, oh, maybe Braun might finally get in the title picture. He just got off a really good win over Lashley. Lashley was, that whole feud I thought was great. I didn't have a problem with it. Yeah, it was gimmicky with the tug of war and the arm wrestling, but I'm like, that makes sense for these two to be doing that. I was hoping for a push for Lashley as well. It seems like he's again faded into the background. Braun looked really good in this feud. But yeah, I was overall happy with the match. Again, stop doing everything in the ring, take it outside of the ring, and give us something that we haven't seen before.
I think what it is with like last man standing matches, like you expect it to get to a certain level of hardcore or extreme at least.
Yeah.
But with these two, like, it makes sense. The following night on Raw with the Battle Royal, Braun was one of the last 4, so it almost seemed like he was going to get it, even though we knew who was. The whole thing of like, Bobby's in it as well. Oh, he's there with his buddy Baron. It's like, okay. Kind of burying the two in the back, but I don't know. Like right now, we kind of put everything on hold, obviously, because of last night. But we'll see where the stories carry on next week. Who knows? Maybe Braun gets a turn or a push. Hopefully, Bobby does as well. We'll see. Triple threat tag match between the New Day, Big E and Xavier Woods, minus Kofi, versus Daniel Bryan, or the new Daniel Bryan and Rowan, versus Heavy Machinery's Otis and Tucker. I kind of didn't really seem to be as interested in this one. I don't know why. It just felt like, all right, we kind of seen this before when it was just one of each team facing off. Now it's like the tag teams.
Yeah.
Am I happy that the New Day are 6-time tag champs? Sure. I mean, we all kind of wanted Rowan and Daniel to keep their belts, but we're kind of wondering, what's Daniel Bryan's direction now?
Yeah.
Where is he really going in the WWE? Because supposedly 2 days after he was supposed to have an announcement, we never really heard the announcement.
Right, yeah.
What do you think?
I thought it was a fine match. That ending was really good, though. The flip into Big E catching him and delivering the midnight hour. Glad for New Day being 6-time champs. If there's one tag team that deserves it, it's them. I thought this was a deliberate effort to break Kofi and the rest of the New Day sort of apart. Like, hey, we're going to let Kofi do his thing. You guys do your thing. We got to build you two up separately, as opposed to... Because I told you before, sometimes when they're all in the ring together, it seems like Kofi's the third wheel, and it's like, this guy's your champion. He's not supposed to feel like the third wheel. He's supposed to be the top guy who's in center of the ring. So, I like it, give them some separation. And then maybe when it comes time for maybe a Big E to betray a Kofi and go after that title, it might be a little bit more meaningful. Because it seems like their promos are always in the ring, shaking their hips, twerking, throwing out pancakes, where now it's like you can build all three of them as credible athletes.
I would just think that, like, obviously you got to rip the belts off of them, and then you can build on this.
The fall of the New Day, is what you can build it as.
And I get it that, like, it was 5 years ago they started their team.
Yeah.
Maybe at this point you do have to separate them. I mean, because great tag teams, if you ever want them to, like, be credible in the future, you have to separate them. You have to let them be on their own path again as singles competitors. I think at one point you pull the trigger, but just you need the proper build.
Yes.
But moving on, we have the United States Championship match between the new champion AJ Styles versus the former champion, which he took the belt from, Ricochet. Little immediate to give the belt to Ricochet, a little even more immediate to rip it off of him.
Yeah.
I don't know how I feel about this rivalry, to be honest with you. I think it's just, I get it. You're getting the real AJ Styles apparently, as far as what Vince McMahon wanted all along.
Is the club throwing you off?
No, I just don't know what it is. I think like the belt itself, it's supposed to have meaning behind it, and lately you've turned it into a gimmick.
Yeah.
And usually with the United States Championship, as far as the history it has, it's like, no, it's supposed to be prestigious. It's supposed to be like something you work hard for. Obviously, there's only been a few people that have had long reigns with it, but this time around, it's like you're playing hot potato with it.
Yeah.
And I feel like this is a way of like, okay, I think if AJ would have lost, it would make more sense to make him a nastier, like more villainous type of a heel.
Yeah.
But it's like, oh, you're a heel, but you have to have a belt. Like, you don't have to be a heel with a championship. Like, most good heels, if you know how to sell it, you don't need a belt. I just felt like AJ had to have it.
Yeah.
It takes away from Ricochet's credibility. That's what throws me off about this. It's like, what were they called last night?
OC?
The original
club.
I think that's what it's supposed to signify.
Yeah.
I like that they're back together. I do. It's just, I think if you want to give Gallows and Anderson credibility, you have to make them not only just defend AJ, they have to go pursue something themselves.
Yeah.
Like whether it's Raw or SmackDown's tag team belts. I don't know. What do you? What's your perception of the match and this whole?
Yeah, the feud has been all over the place. AJ loses due to circumstance. Then he takes the title off of Ricochet. Going back to your point, I would have loved to see like AJ's still a good guy, but you have Gallows and Anderson like, hey, you know what you have to do.
Like,
AJ,
come on, like,
yeah, AJ. I got this, guys. Build it all the way to SummerSlam, where we think AJ's gonna be a nice guy and he's gonna play fair. The referee's down, boom, heel turn. That's where you take the title off of Ricochet and put it on AJ. And you can even build that into maybe a Hell in a Cell or a Survivor Series where either Ricochet, defeats all the odds, or AJ puts him down and goes, nah, not this time. Mm-hmm. And you can build Ricochet onto something else.
Because you give him more credibility. You don't put it as like, oh, well, AJ's a heel, here's the belt. Yeah. It's like, there's no give and take. It's more like give. I'll do what I want.
Yeah.
And I feel like AJ's never really done that. But right now in the WWE, it feels like it. Like lately. And I don't know, maybe he's still bitter that he lost the WWE Championship a while back. Maybe he feels like, I've been giving it my best. I haven't re-signed with you guys, and this is how I'm being treated. Like, is there bitterness?
I was gonna say, if you're paying attention to politics, I think it's an attempt to get Gallows and Anderson to not go to AEW. Mm-hmm. So it's like, what do we do? AJ's not really doing anything. Okay, hey AJ, we're gonna put the band back together. Honestly, Finn Balor wasn't really doing anything on the side, so if you had him join the club as well, that would have been like your new NWO kind of, and you could have built it from there where it's like attack and chaos, and these guys just don't play by the rules. Like, you got to get nasty. It would make
more sense.
Yeah. Maybe after Finn comes back?
It'd be perfect.
I don't know.
I mean, we're supposedly hoping for the Demon versus the Fiend in SummerSlam.
And I've said it before, if there's one guy that's got to defeat Demon Finn Balor,
it has to be the Fiend and Bray Wyatt. We never know. Impromptu last second match, literally lasted 17 seconds. Kevin Owens versus Dolph Ziggler. We're getting, I guess, I don't know how to word it with him.
KO Punk.
Yeah, where it's like, oh, he's speaking from the heart, but it's all work at the same time.
Well, honestly, I think this is great because this is, I don't know if you saw the video of KO in the card proposing a match to Shane at SummerSlam where if KO loses, he'll quit. And I'm guessing if Shane loses, he will, like, you know, step down as whatever the hell he's
stop
doing.
being on TV.
Yeah. I've said it before. First of all, this match like would have been perfect if his opponent wasn't Dolph Ziggler because I mean any match where I see a stunner and a 1-2-3 count, that's a 5-star match to me. But when it's on a Dolph Ziggler, I'm like, really? Yeah, I think that shit like right good heat, but wrong person. It shouldn't have been Shane. It should have been me. No, it should have been someone like on the roster who you're trying to get heat on, and you're. See, that's the problem with the McMahons. It's like they'll do the right thing, but they'll have the wrong people doing
it.
They
pick the wrong people in mind sometimes.
Because if someone else was getting the heat that Shane's getting, oh, you are solid. Like in 2019, you would have been the perfect heel, no doubt, no question.
Like Drew.
Drew's got to break away from the tag team stuff he's doing.
It seems like it's been like almost 3 years of this now. Yeah. 2 years that he's like, oh, I'm aligned with someone, but then I'm not.
Yeah.
And then I'm realigning with these new people, but then I'm not.
Yeah.
I like this type of KO that we're getting. I mean, I feel like if it wasn't worked, if it was actually completely from the heart, as he kind of has been going on his promos, it would make more sense. But again, this is a work shoot. It's not something where it's, oh, Kevin's speaking for the fans finally. Yeah, like he's tired of being like the puppet, where he's a heel, he's a face, he's more of a heel. No, he's just being himself now, and it's like doesn't feel genuine. Like it is, but it's not, and you kind of want more out of it, but who do you put them along with to generate the right energy? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, I like this side of KO because I think that when he came back, that face turn and then that heel turn, and then it's like, okay, well, what do we do with you now? So it was just kind of all over the place. Whereas opposed to now, it's like he's a good guy right now, but he's more anti-hero. Because good guy Kevin Owens is hard to buy in. Anti-hero Kevin Owens is very easy to buy into, and heel is super easy to buy into.
Yeah, because it makes more sense at that point.
But if you personally ask me, I think they probably go just get out there and just speak how you feel about this whole Shane McMahon thing, and then he's out there. So. I like it. Like it's funny. It's funny.
So we move on to our next match for the WWE Championship. Kofi Kingston, the man from Ghana, the man from Jamaica, who lost his accent, didn't lose his smile, versus Joseph, Samoa, Samoa Joe. It was a good match. I liked it. It kind of felt abrupt at one point to end it the way it did, where Kofi nails the Trouble in Paradise.
Out of nowhere.
But it's just like, Joe knows how to put on good matches.
Yes.
I don't know if you guys have followed his career since Impact or TNA, whatever it was. They're still hiring. But he's always been that guy that like knows how to put on a 5-star match. And since his debut in NXT to the main roster, it's like, yeah, you got the NXT championship. You finally get the US championship. And now you don't need a belt. It's like, why not? Yeah. This guy deserves a championship belt. You could have made him an Intercontinental champion. You could have done what Sean has been advocating for, where he puts up 5-minute challenges against everybody. And if you can't beat him in 5 minutes, you don't deserve a title shot. The 5-minute challenges where if you can last that long, you don't even have to beat him. If you can just last 5 minutes, then he's like, all right, you'll fight me next week.
Yeah.
Or at this pay-per-view. But no, it seems like we buried that real quick. And then we pushed him to the WWE Championship belt. But then we buried him again because all of a sudden last night, now he's starting something with Roman.
Apparently.
And it's like, wait, wasn't he wanting a WWE Championship? Now he just wants to be a bad guy heel completely.
Well, he's getting it at Smackville.
Oh, Smackville.
Honestly, stop. Just stop.
No more network exclusives.
Well, you know why they're doing it, right?
No.
So AEW, I think, put up something that they're doing that weekend, and this is WWE's. Yeah, he's face palming. Yeah.
Can I be real for a second?
If we can be serious for a minute. Kamish gets real and go.
Why do you have to compete with them? They're not doing anything to stand in your way just yet.
Yeah.
Because, okay. Double or Nothing was by far the most entertaining pay-per-view they've had. Ever since then, I'm sorry, but Fyter Fest, Fight for the Fallen have been very lackluster. And they're supposed to be the new regime, the new it thing, the new brainchild of somebody who still holds a bitter rivalry and anger towards the WWE and Cody. And he went out of his way to, let me find someone who has a lot of money and would like to invest in wrestling. And Tony Khan, let me get my best friends, the Young Bucks, along with me. And we'll all make this whole company credible and come to fruition. Congratulations, you guys did that.
Anybody have a throw and a sledgehammer I can use?
Just out of nowhere. I mean, we'll just magically find it in Vegas. But no, all of a sudden, it's like, they're a threat to you. Maybe you should step up your writing staff, your booking committee, everybody in your rosters as far as who makes everything great about the WWE. Step up your game. Because honestly, yes, AEW will be a threat once they get their TNT TV deal started in October, and they'll actually be, I can watch Monday and Tuesday WWE on USA or Fox, because I think they're moving to Fox at that point. Wednesday I can watch, or Tuesday night I can watch 205 Live right after SmackDown. Wednesday I can watch NXT/NXT UK. Friday I get an option to watch AEW. I get to watch wrestlers that I've heard of, but I never get to see in a WWE ring. Cool! Why the hell does there need to be stupid one-time... What are they calling it? Smackville?
Smackville, because it's in Nashville.
That just sounds like an AEW move.
I'm going to interject. I'm going to interject with something. I've been the one guy that's been kind of, playing it cool this whole time, where I've been saying AEW is great, but don't jump on the bandwagon yet. Even though I have myself, but my whole thing is...
You're not convinced until it becomes a weekly episodic
That's
thing.
my thing. Everybody's saying AEW is going to take over. AEW is going to dominate ratings. Well, yeah, if you have one show every 6 months, you're bound to put on a good show. But try doing it on a weekly basis.
And try doing it on a monthly basis when it comes to your pay-per-views. And by the way, most of their events have been free. Unless you're the dumbass who decided to buy it through DirecTV or pay a subscription somewhere, you could have watched their last 2 pay-per-views on Bleacher Report Live's app.
I mean, since we're advertising, just keep in mind you can catch all your favorite WWE programming only on the WWE Network for a non-negotiable but very reasonable price of only $9.99.
So, WWE, I get it. You feel threatened, you feel annoyed, you feel like they're taking little quiet jabs at you. But they're not credible just yet.
I don't know if you saw that Stephanie McMahon interview. It wasn't even an interview. She's like walking from like one city to another like by the airport, and there's, I don't know if it's TMZ or who, but stops her and goes, "What do you think of AEW?" And this is what I've been saying all along. She kept it short and sweet. She's like, they're doing their thing.
That's it.
That's it.
The WWE isn't trying to advocate for them. They're not trying to push for them. Hell, at one point, WrestleMania, I think, was the ones they're saying, are they working together? Are they doing something where this is all one big thing? And trying to see that, they want to get the best out of each other.
Before that news broke, I kind of put that assessment together. I'm like, could you imagine one of the biggest, I don't know what you want to call it, shams, or one of the biggest conspiracies is the fact that WWE and AEW are secretly working together.
Because at one point, while that rumor was coming around, Sammy did his whole thing on the electric chair. Where he's like, you could have asked me about AEW. And it's like, okay, maybe they are in cahoots. Maybe they're not.
Because I can remember when WCW and ECW, even TNA, it's like nobody would dare to say the initials. If you said the initials, like, be ready for Wrestler's Court or something. But now it's like they throw it out there, like, yeah, and it's like, I get the t-shirt bans, but you're deliberately saying it. Granted, you go back later and you blur it, but you said it on your TV show, so.
Like, really, and that's what bugs me with the WWE right now. It's like, if you're threatened, okay, step up your game. Prove why you've been the dominant force in wrestling entertainment for the last 70, 60, 100 plus years that you've been, like, a company.
Yeah.
Don't fall into, like, hey, they want to do this on a Saturday. We can do a Saturday event too. Like,
now you're now you're Monday night warring it.
And the war hasn't even started yet because supposedly their show's gonna be on a Friday on TNT in October. That's when it supposedly starts. But yeah, that's my message to the WWE. Stop falling in to chaos and throwing gimmicks at us. Because honestly, it's like, okay, what do I have planned for Saturday? I had this do. Oh, there's a Smackville thing? Sure. It was a crappy show. I could have been doing this. But that's my keeping it real moment right there. Moving on. The final match in the main event of the night.
Or is it?
The last chance winner takes all Extreme Rules mixed tag team match with Baron Corbin.
Everyone's favorite constable.
Except mine. And the Southern Belle, Lacey Evans. Versus the Irish Last Kicker. The Man, Becky Lynch.
Baxter.
And the at the time, current, reigning, defending, undisputed, beast-slaying, Universal Heavyweight Champion, Seth freaking Rollins.
Sacco Rollinsian.
So the stipulation was, not only is it an extreme mixed tag match, but both belts were on the line. Whoever got the pinfall wins both belts or retains both belts.
Yes.
There was a botch between Becky and Lacey with the chair. I don't know if you caught it when they were outside the ring. Like, I guess, like, Lacey tried to hit her with the chair, but Becky caught it, but the chair still hit her in the side, so Becky went all crazy on her.
Oh, no, I didn't see that.
Yeah, like, if you watch that match again, you'll see it. It looks really chaotic where Becky just snaps and she just implodes on Lacey.
Is it a storyline snap or is it...
No, it was like a botch. And she just went crazy. I guess the point of the match was to not give Baron Corbin or Lacey any more options, because how many times have we seen them go up against these two individually?
A lot.
And the story eventually started to come together when Lacey was the special guest referee for Stomping Ground, right?
Yeah.
And then Becky got involved, and then now it's like...
Relationships on air, ladies and gentlemen.
I don't know how I feel. Like, the match itself was okay.
The match
was a good match.
It was a good match.
It was, I don't know, it lived up to the pay-per-view's name.
The watered down Extreme Rules that we all have come to know and somewhat not love, yes. I gotta say this though. Becky taking that end of days like a champ.
Didn't I say it was gonna happen? Or at least something like that would happen to her?
Honestly, okay, I'm not advocating for violence against women, but I just thought that in this match it was justified because Becky and Seth took the kendo sticks and just beat Corbin up. And I think it's one of those things where it's like now with the Paul Heyman era, it's like we're not going to go the full 9 yards, but we're going to give you something. We're going to give you a taste. Kind of like what they did at Royal Rumble with Nia. And my whole thing is I think if Becky knew she wasn't able to take the move, she wouldn't have taken it. So it's like they take the precautions to make sure that everything is fine. But I like it because it builds up to, Seth gets his girlfriend attacked, and he went ham on Baron Corbin. The second, and they win the match. And the second, when Seth is like, okay, I'm going to check on the Baxter. Hit that music. Guess who's cashing in their Money in the Bank contract?
You just see Seth's reaction no, not now. No, this is not the right time. It's kind of like that feeling of okay, I totally forgot about you. For once in my mind, I'm focused on the match. I'm focused on the fact that you took the end of days. Holy crap, I totally forgot. Yeah. What's more important right now? My belt, my girlfriend. What do I do? And it just, everything for once, it felt right.
Yeah.
It's not, you can't call it the heist of the century.
No, definitely not.
But it came to full circle 4 years later, finally. Because if you all remember, history sometimes loves to repeat itself. Seth Rollins did the exact same thing to Brock Lesnar 4 years ago for the WWE Championship at WrestleMania 31. And this is before all of us started watching pay-per-views together.
Yes.
But I watched that pay-per-view thinking in my head all right, this match between Brock and Roman's okay.
Great match.
All of a sudden, you hear, Burn It Down. I'm like, no. He's running down that long-ass entryway. Thank God he didn't fall, by the way, because of that. Running at that speed at that long of a ramp.
I think about that sometimes. And you're going down, by the way, so your momentum's going to,
my whole thought process was he's doing it. He's going to win. But who does he pin out of it?
Roman.
Yeah. And it's okay. 4 years later, you hear Brock Lesnar's music, you're like, this makes perfect sense. This is well worth watching right now.
And I kept on saying it. I'm like, it's not official until the bell rings because they could have easily teased it.
Yeah.
I'm like, it's not official. Oh, the bell rang. Here we go.
And he took him out.
But you and I saw there's an episode that's going to be coming up, Shooting the Shoot Volume 3. Make sure you check that out where the commission and I talk about this. But I guess we're going to bring it up here again. I guess I'm taking a survey here.
Hey, yo.
I mean, yeah, we've pretty much agreed on this, so I pretty much know your answer. But just for the sake of the episode, you were all right with Brock cashing in and actually winning the championship. Because I was as well. I know we've been advocating, take the title off of Brock, don't give it to him. But honestly, it was already established. He's Mr. Money in the Bank. We can't do anything about that. History has, it's gone. But if we're doing it, let's do it when it's right. Where it's right.
It literally has... It can't... It could... Okay. If he had done it at SummerSlam, it would make no sense. He'd done it... Any pay-per-view following... It's literally the whole thing of right place, right guy, right time. They all have to align perfect. If it doesn't... There's no point to it. Hell, we even tried to see if he could do it to Kofi, or whoever Kofi lost it to, he does it to them. It made no sense. No one expected this that night. No one even saw it coming.
Paul Heyman spoiled the whole thing.
Yeah, and everyone thought, okay, yeah, whatever. You're just talking out your ass like you normally do. You're just talking shit. But no, he literally told you it's going to happen, and there's nothing Seth Rollins can do about it.
Yeah.
And what happened? Everything Paul Heyman said came true.
Decisively.
And for once, it felt right. It felt good.
But here's the problem, though. We are immediately back to Brock versus Seth, and I said it before. If Brock keeps the title past SummerSlam, again, it's going to be like, oh, okay, so he's probably keeping it until Mania again. And if Seth wins it back, it's like, yeah, but you just lost it. Which is why I'm like, if Braun won that Battle Royal, or if Cesaro won the Battle Royal, there's an idea. Or even Randy Orton winning the Battle Royal, I would have been like, okay, Brock has the title now, but now here's this window of opportunity. Let's put it on someone. Build them up.
Okay. I'm going to give it a good 5 minutes. Let's play devil's advocate with the following three you just mentioned. Braun Strowman, Cesaro, or Randy Orton. Okay. Brock versus Randy, SummerSlam. What happened 3 years ago?
They tried to basically do UFC and WWE where he busted him up and excessive bleeding, and the ref called it, winner by knockout. And that was it.
So, you have somebody who's capable of going up against Brock and Randy. But if you were to put that match now, would you give Randy the Universal Championship?
I would give Randy the Universal Championship.
Would you let Randy retire a few months after? Or does Randy still have a lot left in the gas tank?
Randy looks great. I think he's still got a lot left in the gas tank.
Okay.
I would maybe give him that title until a WrestleMania, build him up as like Apex Predator, Viper, and then if it Drew McIntyre or if whoever wins the Rumble, there you go. The Viper and the Scottish Psychopath. Randy drops the belt.
I could see that. Because it seems like everyone is kind of wanting this, like, one more run at a championship with Randy. And Randy even teased it with the Intercontinental, but it's like, no, man, you're not a worker anymore. You are a main event guy. Why not give you a belt you haven't won yet?
Yeah.
Now, let's do it with Cesaro. Imagine if Cesaro had won that Battle Royal. He just lost to A-Lister Black, but he proved himself to everyone like, hey, I belong where I belong now. This is right for me. Do you see him beating Brock Lesnar at SummerSlam? Or do you build that where he keeps on going and eventually wins?
The fan inside of me wants to say Cesaro gets the belt at SummerSlam. But the long-term thinker in me goes, or you can maybe build this up to a Hell in a Cell or a Survivor Series. So yeah, then again, maybe waiting is probably not the best. I would probably put that belt on Cesaro at SummerSlam if we were to have that.
And then do you have him dropping it later on, or how long do you have him reigning as the Universal Champion?
You would have to do it for a good while, because if you start playing hot potato again, that Universal Championship is not going to meet squat.
Do you have him holding it to Survivor Series?
Definitely.
Royal Rumble.
Yes, and then if we do have Elimination Chamber next year, that's where he drops it.
Okay.
Because you protect Cesaro by not directly pinning him.
Inadvertently losing by being eliminated.
Yeah.
You can even have him be eliminated second to last.
Yeah.
All right. And the last person I said was
Braun Strowman.
Braun Strowman. The guy who was right place, right time, right guy, 2018.
2017.
Never got it.
Yeah.
So what do you do with Braun at this point?
You put that title on him pronto.
Immediately?
Immediately.
So right at SummerSlam.
Right at SummerSlam.
You would have had him win. How long do you have him reigning as a Universal Champion, though?
I would maybe even go past WrestleMania.
Really?
You need to... Braun is your giant.
Is he a face or is he a heel?
In between.
So anti-hero pushing the point of a heel.
Yes.
Because you have what? You have that brute, strong, dominant force, but it's finally like, no, I've told everyone you need to be wary of me.
Yeah.
You are going to know what it is to get these hands.
Exactly.
Who do you put him against?
When?
Anytime. After SummerSlam. Do you give Brock a rematch?
You can, but Braun needs to win that match.
So you bury Brock at that point.
Can you really bury Brock at this point? I would even bring it full circle. Take it to Hell in a Cell. Last year, Braun cashed in against Roman Reigns. Brock comes in, crashes in, and it leads to a no contest. Make it definitive this year. Hell in a Cell, Braun versus Brock. Braun finally defeats Brock again. Now he moves on. Put him against the Lars Sullivan. Put him against the Samoa Joe. Put him against the Bobby Lashley. Put him against the coming back Big Show. I've said it that Big Show has one last run left in him, especially with how fit he's gotten. He got fit for that Shaq match that he thought he was going to get, and then bless his heart, we never wound up getting it. But I think there is a lot of giants and a lot of people that Braun could, even like, middle guys or even small guys.
So like you would say like Seth or
an AJ Styles, a returning Finn Balor, maybe even The Fiend, Bray Wyatt, maybe.
I kind of would like to see The Fiend versus Braun at Royal Rumble. Like you build up The Fiend being like, hey, I'm here to reign terror in the WWE. I took out the demon. You put him against people who he has an ideal grudge. But then at one point you have him cross Braun's path.
Yeah.
Like, hey, you used to be with me. I can take you out whenever I want. And you can have it at Royal Rumble in a way. I would like to see that. But the problem is we're getting... So there's nothing... I have nothing against Seth ever. I've never had because honestly... Here's my thing with Seth Rollins. I've never seen him as a Shawn Michaels 2.0, as Shawn told him. Like, everyone wants to be the next me. They don't want to be the first them.
Yeah.
But Seth has proven that he's not the next Shawn Michaels. He's Seth Rollins. I don't like that Seth is getting a rematch by this way. If he had just been like, you know what, I don't need to compete in a battle royal. I'm invoking a rematch clause.
But remember, they don't do rematch clauses anymore.
Which is kind of dumb, but it's like, in a way, it's like, wait, he lost it last night, and then the following night, he wins an opportunity at it again. Where Baron got another opportunity at it again as well. So it's kind of like, just invoke the rematch clause again. Just put it back. My thing is like, I get why he wants to be Universal Champion because he's won everything at this point in the WWE. He's a Grand Slam champion. He's a Triple Crown champion.
Royal Rumble winner, Money in the Bank winner.
He's won everything possible to win except, I would say, a King of the Ring, which doesn't exist anymore. But if it did, I mean, you can imagine him as King Rollins.
King Rollins.
Why not? And then, I don't know, it just doesn't feel okay with me to see these two at SummerSlam, because it's like, we're really going to take the belt off of Brock Lesnar this way? Like, immediately? The guy who usually hangs on to it for about almost 2 years? I don't know. Like, I just feel like Brock has... Yeah, I get it. He's only won heavyweight championships because he's like to perceive himself as only a heavyweight. Like, he's never won an Intercontinental Championship. He's never been a tag champ. He's never been a United States champ. It's like, okay, you won the World Heavyweight title. You won the WWE title. You won the Universal title. Like, why do you need to hang on to this one at this point?
Again, which is like... That's why Extreme Rules was so good, because we're like, look, nobody wanted Brock to win the Money in the Bank. But now that he has, what's the best way to take opportunity of it? What's the best opportunity that we can take to make it feel like Okay.
It's justified.
Yeah.
Like, it's right.
So, doing it at Extreme Rules was good, but it's like that Battle Royal was the perfect opportunity of like...
Okay, build up for someone else.
Someone else, yeah. But, I mean, did you want to do the Raw Reunion quick review? So, Raw Reunion was last night. A lot of hype, a lot of advertisement going into it. Apparently, it wasn't WWE who was making this call. It was the USA Network saying, hey, your ratings have kind of sucked. We need a good kick in the ass. Let's do a Raw Reunion. Before we went on the air, I told you that I think that yesterday's Raw Reunion was better than the Raw 25. That whole thing was a mess. It didn't seem like something special. It just seemed...
You had it in 2 arenas.
Yeah, don't do that. That
makes no sense.
Yeah.
If you're gonna have a Raw 25 year, okay, either do it where you originated Raw in that little like hall that kind of seems like the same hall that ECW uses, or have it at the Barclays Center.
Yeah.
Do one only. Have your 3-hour show. Do it the way the reunion was done. Because I felt like Vince wasn't even responsible for doing this correctly.
Wow.
Well, okay. Everybody came in at the right time. Everybody was on the show at right times. I never felt like, oh, why do we need to start the show with John Cena? Why are we having Rikishi and Devon come out right now? Is there a need for Pat Patterson to be on the show? Is there a need for Briscoe? Hell, Kelly. I'm sorry, formerly known as Kelly, now known as Barbie Blank. Candice, Michelle, Melina, Alundra Blaze / Medusa. Everything felt right at the right time. Hell, we got Christian on commentary. We got the King on commentary. Who else? Booker T. Like, everything felt like...
good structure.
Yeah. That's how a show like that should be. That's how the 25-year show should have been. But it was just so like, okay, well, I only have a few weeks to plan this. I want this, and then I'm done.
The funny thing is, now I realize it seemed like it was all the current crop that was lacking. Whatever think about the Uso and the Revival match. It was meh, but it wasn't good. Think about the Samoa Joe and Roman Reigns thing. It's like, there was like this weird point where like Roman would get knocked out, Samoa Joe would bring him back in the ring, he would knock him out again, and he would go back outside of the ring and pick him up and bring him in. Or the jobber match with Braun. I'm like, really?
Even the Drew McIntyre and Cedric Alexander match.
That was
chaotic the way
that was good.
Went off.
That was good. That's the Drew that I'm talking about. But everything from the current thing, the roster, I'm like, or like the AJ and the Seth match. It was good, but then DX gets in the ring. We don't even see a sweet chin music or a pedigree. It's just, they bring like 4 or 5 members from the clique out, and they're like, oh, we're going to get you. Okay, let's go. And it's like, there was like no payoff.
But then there was like the whole thing of like the OCs and the OGs are supposed to be one and the same because they're all members of the clique. We're throwing up the Wolfpack sign, even though that's originally the clique sign. It made sense at least a little bit because it's like, no, we're what defined you guys to be what you think you're a part of as us. Even though in reality, I know backstage, everyone knows the OC really is a part of the clique. Like, that club is exclusive no matter what to everyone that's been in it that is in it, whether it's Shawn Michaels, Triple H, the Road Dogg, AJ, Gallows, and Anderson. Everybody that's in that is in there for a reason. But obviously for the show, it's like, no, we're the originals of this. You get the cross chop.
Yeah.
And then the payoff of seeing Stone Cold Steve Austin, like that, it comes like, that's what a Raw show is. Like, if you have caught all your favorite Stone Cold moments on the WWE Network, which
for just $9.99,
you've seen that Stone Cold cuts the best of promos compared to anybody ever on Raw. And of course, this was almost 10 minutes.
Steve got like 7 minutes. Honestly, I thought this was, even though he's like, I'm not going to get all sentimental, I liked it. He shared a few very personal stories. Like, I was shocked to hear when he's like, Hulk Hogan and I did a podcast. I'm like, oh, so you guys are actually good now.
That's kind of hard to really ever imagine.
Yeah. I thought that day would never come. And then seeing, Hulk Hogan and everybody else get in the ring and share a beer. I don't think there's any other proper send-off for a show.
By the way, if you catch their Instagram, Lillian Garcia can drink.
Oh, did she
She was chugging like Austin was those beers. I was like, holy shit. And her dress was getting just,
of course,
beer showered. I was like, yeah. But the show felt, hell, even seeing Eric Bischoff. Eric looks good, by the way.
Yeah,
and he's already in his SmackDown blue colors. He even said it. Like, if you don't feel right,
you want to come to SmackDown?
Come to SmackDown. That's him initially saying, hey, I'm here to do my job. I'm ready to turn what's been a decent show for the last year back to a good show. Back to its own standalone show.
Yeah.
Even though we have this stupid wild card rule. Which, again, tonight's SmackDown, we don't know what we're going to get. This is something I am hoping to not see. Because I think she needs the proper build-up. Is Liv Morgan getting, like, time off to build herself, or, like, at least, like, some kind of mention from Charlotte, like, oh, I took out Liv Morgan. I took out blah, blah, blah. Like, But you keep her relevant.
Yeah.
I'm hoping, because there's supposedly a SmackDown reunion show. We don't know. And if there is, maybe we get Rey Mysterio there, because that's where Rey Mysterio originated. Yeah. Maybe we get Edge, the cutting edge. Maybe we get SmackDown superstars.
Yeah.
Like, from the past, like, making it just as good a show as Raw. Because, honestly, I've never been able to watch a full Monday Night Raw without feeling like, I could have watched a whole lot of other stuff, or I could watch this later. Last night was probably the first time in a long time where I'm like, I liked Raw.
Yeah.
Not like I liked it, but no, everything finally felt right. Unfortunately, of course, we can't keep these people coming back every week.
Yeah.
But this should be an omen like, hey, Raw needs to improve.
Yes.
Raw needs to stay a good enough weekly episodic show, especially since we're heading into the biggest party of the summer. And then from there, we're heading into the more grueling and dominating pay-per-views that are supposed to come along with it. Survivor Series, ending the year with TLC, and jumping into the remainder of the WWE year with the Royal Rumble and so on and so forth. What are your expectations at this point from Raw and SmackDown, just the WWE now? Because it seems like they're slowly getting back to good pacing with, like, as far as pay-per-views and as far as TV goes.
And maybe that's the Paul Heyman touch that I've been talking about. Yeah, honestly, I'm going to say this. I believe that Money in the Bank and Extreme Rules were good pay-per-views respectively. I'm not going to sit here and say that they were Attitude Era-esque or that they were, right up there with a WrestleMania or whatever. But they were good. They were watchable, from top to bottom. I just think, make logical decisions is all that I ask for. Putting Braun in a squash match last night made absolutely no sense. You could have had Braun doing 1,001 other things that would have been a lot more entertaining and would have made a whole lot more sense than him squashing a jobber. This is we talk about this TV time. If you delegate it to squash matches and slapstick and fart jokes and like potty humor, you're not getting anywhere with that. You see, there's a decrease in your ratings. You got to do something different. We'll just have to see. I mean, SmackDown so far is the more watchable of the two, and I think maybe that's just the 2-hour thing. But once again, I feel like every week on SmackDown, there's a good structure. All your main players, for the most part, get their TV time. All the storylines, get further build up. I'm just hoping that Raw can follow that example. So that's just my take on it. And there you go, guys. We just reviewed Extreme Rules 2019. We reviewed Raw Reunion. Let us know what you guys think in the comment section below, and we will catch you all next time.